No, I
She's
think
gonna have to piece them together. I don't. Siri came on, so go ahead and I'll just let her know.
So in terms of managing client expectations, I think you and I sometimes, because we've been doing this a long time, we kind of know what the timelines are or lack thereof.
Mhm.
And so really making sure that the attorney explains to you in the probate world, this is what we believe it might be, but realistically, it could be a lot longer. And
Yeah.
and having people to understand that is a big part. Estate planning isn't as long of a timeline in our office. Typically, if it's a will-based estate plan where people have decided or elected to use a will as the vehicle to dispose of their stuff, usually takes us about 4 weeks from beginning to end. A trust may be about 6 weeks from beginning of process to end of signing and finishing up those documents. But I think in the probate side with guardianships and with administration, that could be all over the place.
It could be, and it's sometimes hard to explain why. And so at the beginning, I try to tell clients, look, anytime the court is involved, you're kind of at the court's mercy. It's not our timeline or your timeline, you're on their timeline. And so one of the things I try to tell clients is let's make sure we have all of our ducks in a row, all of the documents we need. So when we present it to the court, it cuts down on the amount of time. But yes, on the probate side, it's more of a wild card because it really depends on the court, how busy that court is, whether it's in a small town or whether it's in a big city, and how many cases they have coming in, what that timeline is going to look like. And so when we don't have a definite timeline, like on the estate planning side, it is important to keep in touch. And so we try to update clients once a month, and say, even if we have no news, hey, we checked in with the court, it's still processing, just so clients feel comfortable and know that we are still working on their case.
Yeah. So after we have met with you for the initial meeting on the estate planning side of the house, typically we may do another meeting to actually go into the details of designing whatever that estate plan you have selected will look like. After we've done that, we review the plans, and then our final and our happiest part is our signing day.
Day,
And
yes.
the signing is meant to be celebratory. Like you've put something in place to protect your family. And so that I think is the best part. It's like at the end of the day, you can comfortably say, I have taken these steps to make sure that my family is okay. So that's really our timeline in terms of how our office works.
The probate isn't tied up in a package like that. And there is more back and forth with our office and you. So I can't tie it up in a bow like that. But I will say that some probate cases we get and we're able to go from beginning to end 6 months. Some we get that are more complex, maybe more heirs, maybe a bigger city, a lot of different things come into play, and it may take a couple years. But we try to hold your hand along the way, and make sure you understand that, we are taking care of all of your legal needs, even if, it's taking longer than you thought it would take to get to the end of the process.
So before I close us out, let's talk about how we communicate with our clients.
Portal.
That's a good one. So Liv said portal. We use a software called My Case currently, that has a client portal. Everybody that becomes a client is in My Case. And so there is an opportunity to send us emails through the portal, send us messages, send us documents. Think of it as your electronic file.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we can have everything in one file
Yeah.
for you. We can share documents with you. When courts send us back documents, we can upload it there and you can see it right away. So we encourage all of our clients to
And
make
it
sure.
is secured.
And I think that's the part that people don't understand because we're
Yeah.
such an email, driven
Yeah.
society. Email is not secure. We know that. Everybody know that. It's not new. People have been hacked all the time. And so we, for our clients' protection and for their security, we use that portal. So we want to make sure everybody is in the portal, because it is nothing worse than getting an email in my inbox. Then I got to move it to the portal. Then I'm going to respond to you through
In
the
the
portal.
portal.
I'm going to respond via email. Um, and so having people to understand that, I think, is a big one. Because
No,
I
for
know people are not used to communicating that way. Well, now most doctors' offices
that
are
is
communicating
true.
that
Yes.
way. So as a legal profession, we have gotten to be the same way, because for the same reason, security. We know that just sending email is not the most secure.
Yeah, and I think it just goes back to managing the expectations early, letting clients know that is our means of communicating through the portal. And it's the fastest way for you to get an answer from us is through the portal. I My email is a scary place. And so if it gets in my inbox, I can't be accountable for it. But if it's in the portal, I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna be able to respond in a really timely manner.
And I
And
tell
so,
people we're not at our desk all day. I
right.
don't know, contrary to most people's opinion, lawyers are just behind their computer, you know, uh, typing and typing away. But we're not. Sometimes we're in
Yeah.
court, sometimes we're in hearings, sometimes we are at community events. Like, we are very, very seldom just sitting behind our desk. But if it is in that portal and I have a few minutes between events, I can even get you an answer then.
Right.
If you're waiting on a phone call back, that might take a little bit longer.
Mhm.
Because that means I have to come back to my office and sit behind this desk in order to get back on phone calls. So the portal, if you have a quick question, I can crank that out while I'm sitting before a hearing or waiting on something to be called at the courtroom. So that's why we also encourage you to use the portal, because it helps us to be more efficient in the time that it will take to get back to you with that answer.
That's a good point.
Anything else?
No, I think this was a good overview, not
So,
just for SR law, but in general.
yeah,
Like,
I wanted to do this episode because we do get asked the same questions over and over again in terms of the timeline, or how can I best prepare for that meeting.
yes,
And so I thought that this would be helpful for our listeners, for our future clients, as they are getting ready to come to our office. They can listen to this episode and get themselves together.
yes.
Well, that's it for us. Liv, did you want to say anything else before I close us out?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of SR Law. Olivia and I, Black Parents Aging, we thank you so much for listening. As always, you know how to reach us on all of our social media platforms. If you have show ideas or anything that you would love to hear about on the show, please send that to us. I love getting feedback from everybody. I love getting the recommendations on show topics. So thank you again. Until next time.
Bye.